Good morning, students. Our topic for today's class is measurement of time, right? So, we commonly use a pendulum clock to note time, which is based on periodic oscillation of a pendulum, right? Periodic oscillation means to say after a particular duration of time, if a same cycle is being repeated, that is called your periodic. So, over here we will learn about the principle of a simple pendulum, right? On which principle the simple pendulum is dependent of.
Start.
So a simple pendulum is what? It is a heavy point mass known as bob suspended from a rigid support by a massless and inextensible string. So ideal case is what? That this mass must be a point mass and it must be a heavy, it must be very heavy, right? But it is very difficult to get, right? So but that is we consider in the ideal one, and even the string must be inextensible, right? It must be massless. Again the ideal condition is difficult to get, so but over here we are considering the ideal one. That means we have taken a point mass, right, that's suspended from a rigid surface, and this string is the inextensible and it is the massless without the mass. Now what is happening here, and this point mass is called your bob. Now in the simple pendulum, what happens when we take pendulum to a one position and leave it, right? What happens? The pendulum will go to another position and will come back, right? This center position, this position is called the mean position, right? So mean position is what? The position of rest, right? The position of the bob when it is at the rest position. This is called mean position, right? And whenever the bob is being oscillated, what happens? It moves to the extreme position on the one side and to the extreme position of another side, right? So bob from its mean position is pulled to one side and then released, and this complete cycle, this going, if I am starting from here, going to this position and then coming back, this complete is called one oscillation, right? Or if I take from the mean position, right, if I consider from the mean position, now the bob is at rest, if it is pulled up to here and leave, then what will happen? This will go up to the extreme mean position and then come to the mean position, and this complete cycle from mean position to A extreme to B extreme, and B to O. What I am saying? O to A to B, and then B to A, B to O. This complete is called one oscillation, right? So the pendulum moves alternately on either side of the mean position, right? And one thing you should know that the pendulum used in a clock is not a simple pendulum, but it is a compound pendulum, because the body capable of oscillating about a horizontal axis passing through A, right? Further I will explain you some terms related to the simple pendulum. First I will explain you the oscillation. Oscillation is what? It is the one complete to and fro motion. What I am saying? One complete to and fro motion of bob, right? Of pendulum. In this case, what I will say, either I can have from one extreme to another extreme and then return back, or either I can say from the mean position to the first extreme, then to the next extreme, and then coming to the mean position is called the one oscillation. Or you can say the complete one cycle, the complete to and fro motion of a bob of a pendulum is called oscillation. Next is period of oscillation. Period of oscillation. Now what is period of oscillation? Whenever I am saying the period, it is what? The time, right? That means whenever the bob is starting from O, moving to A, then to B and then to A, right? That means whenever one complete oscillation is being done, how much time taken? So the period of oscillation is what? Time taken to complete one oscillation, right? And it is denoted by T. Next is the frequency. In your last class also you have learned about the relation between the time period and frequency. Again I will explain you the frequency. Frequency is what? The number of oscillations in 1 second, right? That means in 1 second how much oscillations has been completed by the bob. That is called the frequency of oscillation. And the relation between frequency and the time period is what? T is equal to 1 upon F, or you can say F is equal to 1 upon T. That means if you know the time, you can calculate the frequency. If you know the frequency, you can calculate the time period, right? This is the relation between time period and frequency. Next is amplitude.
Sir.
Next is amplitude. What is amplitude? It is the maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position, right? Okay, now the mean position is this one, right? When the bob is being oscillated, up to what height it is moving? Over A, right? So this is what? The amplitude. Similarly in this side it is the amplitude. You need to note that thing, that either on both the side of the bob it is having the same amplitude, right? That means how much displacement is done on its one side, that will be same as that of another side. So amplitude is what? It is the maximum displacement of the bob from its moving position. Next is effective length. Effective length of pendulum is what? It is the distance of point of oscillation from the point of suspension, right? Point of oscillation to the point of suspension. Point of suspension is this one, right? And point of oscillation is this one. So this position, this length is called your effective length, right? So effective length is what? The distance from the point of oscillation to point of suspension, right? That is called the effective length, right? Next is the measurement of time period of a simple pendulum. How will you measure? To measure the time period of a simple pendulum, the bob is slightly lift up and then it will be released, right? Then with the help of clock, you need to calculate how much time is taken over. You will count the 20 oscillation, right? Just like from over here I am starting, right? So for the 20 oscillation, I will start my stopwatch, 1, then 2, then 3 and up to the 20 I will count, right? Then after 20, I will stop my stopwatch and hence I will get the time period for the 20 oscillations, right? Now if I know the time period of 20 oscillation, can I calculate the time period for one oscillation? So with that you will calculate the time measurement, and also if the time is being known, you can calculate the frequency. Next comes the relation between the time and the length. When you do this activity, that what I am saying, for the 20 oscillations you need to calculate the time. In that, another you can do just by changing the length, right? First length you have taken, then L2 and then L3. With the different length you need to calculate the time period, and you will get to know whenever the length is being changed, the time period is also getting changed. And the relation between time period and length is what? T is proportional to under root of length, or either you can say T square is proportional to the length. The square of time period is proportional to the length. That means whenever the length is being increased, the time period will increase with its square, right? And the graph shows the graph between time period and the length is what? I am taking length. On y-axis I am taking t square. So what the graph will come? If it is t1 square, if it is t2 square, the graph will be the line like that. This will be your Q, this will be your P, and this will be your R, right? So with different length you will get to know how the time period is getting changed. So with that, also the relation between time period, gravity and the length is what? Time is also inversely proportional to gravity, right? Under root of gravity, right? And that is the reason that when a pendulum clock goes slow, when it is taken to mountains or to the mines due to decrease in value of G. See, whenever we are going to the mountains, right? So what is happening? Gravity is decreasing. Hence, your time period will also get changed, right? So your time period depends upon the length. It depends upon the gravity also, right? And also thing is that, have you seen that in the pendulum clocks, what happens in the summer? They are having different, and winter they are having different. Why it is there? Due to seasonal change of temperature, right? If I am saying the seasonal change. So in your summer, what happens? Contraction is there or expansion is there? In the summer, expansion is there in the length, and in the winter, what is there? Contraction is there, right? As the length is getting changed, so time period will also get changed. So what happens? Due to extension and due to the contraction in the winter and in the summer, the time period get affected. So in summer, because of expansion, increase in effective length of pendulum, the time period also get increased and it completes less number of oscillation. Similarly, if we stand on a swing, the time period of a swing decreases. This is because when we stand, the center of gravity rises. So the effective length of swing decreases, due to which its time period also decreases. So your time period depends upon gravity and your time period depends upon the length. So the relation comes T is proportional to under root L upon G, right? And this proportionality is removed by T is equal to 2 pi under root L upon G. This is the relation between time period, length and the gravity of the pendulum. Or either we can write T square is equal to 4 pi square L upon G. You can learn any one of the relation, either this or either this, right? So what I am getting from here, if the length is being increased, time period is also getting increased. If the gravity is increased, the time period is decreasing. Here T is what? Your time period. Length is what? Effective length. And G is what? The gravity, right? Depending upon this, you need to solve the question. I will solve one or two examples for you. Here the question is, compare the time period of a simple pendulum at places where gravity is 9.8 meter per second square and 4.36 meter per second square, right? Over here two gravities are there. Your G1 is given 9.8 meter per second square and G2 is given 4.36 meter per second square. And what you need to do, compare the time period. For this one, time period will be this one, and for T2, time period will be this. What you need to do, T1 upon T2, you need to calculate. So first of all, for this calculation, you must know what is the relation between time period and gravity. We know that time period is inversely proportional to under root of gravity, right? So over here, can I write T1 is proportional to under root of G1? Similarly, T2 will also be 1 upon under root of G2, right? Now, as both are proportionality, so both of them for it will be equal. So, from here what I get, T1 upon T2 will be what? Under root of G2 upon G1. So, it will become 4.36 upon 9.8 under root, right? Now, when I solve it, T1 upon T2, what I get? 1 upon 2.25. Just divide it, you will get the answer. Now, 2.25 is what? It is the square root of what? 1.5. So, and 1 is the square root of 1. So, it will become 1.5. So, T1 is to T2 is equal to 1 is to 1.5. In this way, you can get the relation. That means, whenever the or either you can convert it in the form 10 upon 15. So, 2, 3. So, 2 is to 3. Or either you can write 2 is to 3. Right? So, in this way, you can calculate the time period at the different gravities. You can compare. Right? Similarly, I am going to take another example. Before that, you must know what is the second pendulum. See, second pendulum means to say the pendulum of a clock which we use, note down in our house in a seconds pendulum. It takes 1 second in moving from one extreme to another extreme. See what I am saying, when a pendulum is there, right? It is one extreme and this is another extreme. Now, when it is moving from one extreme to another extreme, for up to here, right, from A to B, this is 1 second, right? And then coming back, another 1 second, right? So, total time is what? 2 seconds. And total time for what? One oscillation, because going to and coming back is what? One complete oscillation. So, second pendulum is what? Second pendulum is a pendulum with a time period of oscillation equal to 2 seconds, right? For the seconds pendulum, the time period is always 2 seconds and that is called your seconds pendulum. Depending upon that, I am going to solve one question. So, our next example is calculate the length of seconds pendulum at a place where gravity is 9.8 meter per second. What I need to calculate? Length, right? Gravity is 9.8 meter per second square, and what is given over here? It is given seconds pendulum. Second pendulum is what? The pendulum which is having time period of 2 seconds. Right? Now, I am having T, I am having G. Can I calculate L? Yes, I am having the relation T square is equal to what? 4 pi square L upon G. Right? I am having this relation. So, with that, I will calculate. So, from here, L will be what? It will be G T square upon 4 pi square. So, G is how much? 9.8. It will be 2 square, then 4, pi is what? 3.14, right? It is pi square, so 3.14 square. When you solve that, you will get 0.994 meter. This is your length. That means whenever the gravity is given, time is given, you can calculate the length. If the length is given, gravity is given, you can calculate the time period and so on. One thing you need to understand from here, that your time period depends on length, it depends upon gravity, but it does not depend upon mass of the bob. And one thing, it does not depend upon the extreme positions, right? That means in the bob, if the bob is taken up to this height or up to only this height, that will not affect the time period of the bob, right? And also, whatever be the mass you are taking for the bob, that does not affect the time period. So, you can say time period of oscillation does not depend upon the mass or the material. Whatever be the material, it does not affect the time period and the mass, right? And another thing, the time period of oscillation does not depend upon the extent of swing on either side.